Hello all, Serious Thieves here, back for some more tips and tricks in No Man's Sky, and today is all about multi-tools. We're going to talk about various types of multi-tools and what an endgame multi-tool would look like in layout and in terms of functionality. You might not know this, but each of the various types of multi-tool, whether you're looking at a pistol like this one, or a submachine gun rifle like this one, they all have various different bonuses. Here's another different kind of rifle that you might see. There's another different kind of rifle there you might see. Rifles and pistols are different from each other. Rifles have no bonus to mining. Pistols have no bonus to damage. And something I just found out today, because I wouldn't have never thought this, pistols actually have the best potential the best potential bonus to mining out of any multi-tool up until you get to end game multi-tools. So what are the various kinds of multi-tool? We'll start with that. We just covered pistols and rifles. On this character I have almost all the other kinds except the alien multi-tool, and we'll talk about the alien multi-tool in a sec, but let's showcase the other ones. So we have experimental. They look like this. There are a pistol version of the experimental multi-tool, but I'm pretty sure they have identical stats to just the experimental. They're all just experimentals. You'll notice the pistol versions are rounded like this. They have usually this kind of clip at the bottom, and they just end here with a nozzle or a barrel at the end, right here, as a round little circle. They look pretty much identically like this without the barrel. These are the best multi-tools in the game for scanning. So the three things a multi-tool can do, we just covered mining and damage and scanning. Those are the three things that they can do. Pistols are really good at mining up until we get to endgame. Experimental is by far the best at scanning, and that would be covering these things here for getting flora and fauna and mineral bonuses for money. They are, however, tied with the Royal multi-tool. The ones that look like this that you can find at Sentinel Pillars, they are the equivalent, the exact equivalent of the experimental multi-tools. They just have a different looking skin. They have up to 100 on an S-class multi-tool for scanning, just like the experimentals do. And yeah, those two are the same. And instead of an alien multi-tool, which in the olden times used to have the highest damage bonus in the game until they added new types of multi-tool. So I don't have one of those to show off today, but now we're going to jump over to an endgame multi-tool that you have to complete most of the game to get to, and that's the Atlantid multi-tool. It is by far the best mining multi-tool in the game. It's almost double what a pistol can do, which is pretty significant. It goes up to 50 potential mining bonus. The pistol, oh no, it's not 25, it's 35 on a pistol, which is pretty darned high. The second place, I would say, for mining does go to the Royal and Experimental multi-tools. They can go up to 30 compared to the pistol's 35, but they have a higher minimum for their S-class of 25 instead of 20 for the pistol. So it's a bit of a trade-off. You definitely want an experimental over a pistol almost all the time. But this is what you want at the end game. These kind of tools you get from Korvax monoliths after you have completed the autophage missions. Speaking of the autophage, let's get over to the autophage staff multi-tool. You're going to get your own. You're going to make one as you do the autophage weapon missions. You can make it look however you want. After you've made your first one, you can get some pretty good layouts and cool looks, and they have the best damage bonus in the game, tied with the Sentinel multi-tool. We haven't gotten to that one yet. We'll cover that one in a second. This goes to 50 damage bonus, and the alien multi-tool goes up to 35 maximum damage bonus. So this can have a much higher damage bonus than any alien multi-tool can by a lot. It's definitely worth having a staff if what you want is damage bonus to your multi-tool weapon systems, like a boltcaster. Don't worry, we're also going to get into the various weapon systems later. Let's jump over to that Sentinel multi-tool. They look like this. Or there's a pistol version. They're identical as well, stat-wise, same as the experimental and experimental pistol. The pistol version looks like a leaf blower. It's orange and black. It's got a little bit of a nozzle, but yeah, it looks like a leaf blower. This one looks like a really weird space shotgun. And if you fire this in first person, you can really see these things firing in sequence like pistons in a car engine. It's pretty neat, actually, but I usually don't play in first person, so I never get to see that. These have the best damage bonus in the game. Same with the the autophage staff, but these have two added advantages in that they might be an end game weapon, but you can get these on a brand new character. You only basically have to warp once, potentially, to get one of these things. And they're phenomenal. They're an end game class weapon that you can get without having to do all of the missions of the entire game to unlock them. And the second reason that they are potentially better than the autophage staff weapon is because not only do they have a damage bonus, they have a secondary mining beam, they have a hijacked laser, and you can install a mining beam beside it. And this lets you harvest stuff twice as fast for half the overheat cost, and it is phenomenal. It does not compete with the Atlanted multi-tool, however. We'll go back to that, because not only does the Atlanted multi-tool have like a 40% better potential mining bonus than the staff or Sentinel multi-tool, it also has its own secondary mining beam, a runic lens instead of a hijacked laser, and you can install a mining beam beside it and get the exact same bonuses you would get from the Sentinel multi-tool. So on your way up to endgame, you probably want a Sentinel multi-tool, and after you get to endgame, you might want to diversify and get yourself one just for mining, and maybe just one for scanning, although I recommend getting one just for scanning on your way up to endgame as well. You can get the experimentals anywhere. They're very rare. Most systems don't have them, but I would look up some maybe Lava Lamp or Junt videos and get some coordinates for those, because they're amazing for scanning. You can make a fortune with scanner upgrades, get your multi-tools all purchased and your ships purchased. By the way, we're going to be doing this for ships separately. I did want to cover endgame ships as well, but we're doing multi-tools today. We'll get to ships later. Let's jump from the different kinds of multi-tool into what you want to put onto a multi-tool. So obviously on any of these multi-tools that have their own unique kind of mining beam, you want to put a mining beam. You want to get S-class upgrades for the mining beam. They just recently upped the potential of X-class neutron cannon upgrades, but X-class mining beam upgrades always have a lower potential mining speed and fuel efficiency stat than do the S-class ones, and I personally find mining speed and fuel efficiency to be some of the most important stats. The heat dispersion and overheat downtime stats can get ridiculous on the X-class modules, but especially on multi-tools that have both, those are sort of irrelevant stats. You want to mine stuff faster, you want to use less carbon while you're mining, and you want to get more out of it, so you want this kind of multi-tool to get the highest bonus for what you're going to get out of it. And you want to surround this module here with the most S-class or X-class modules you can, because this is the one that's going to get the most adjacency bonuses from being beside other modules that get you the most resources. I also recommend you put this one in specific on a supercharged slot if you have it available on the multi-tool that you've purchased, because if that's the point of your multi-tool, mining and getting the most out of it, you want this one there to be on this super slot. If you can afford only one, that's the one. Let's jump over to a damage multi-tool so we can talk about some weapons. The Atlas Scepter unique staff that came from the Omega Expedition. It is an autophage staff multi-tool for stats, but it also has a runic lens of the Atlanted multi-tools. It's like a fusion of an Atlanted multi-tool and an Atlas and an autophage staff. It has the damage, but it doesn't have the mining bonus, so it gets high capacity mining from having its own mining beam. There we go. but it doesn't get the bonus that the Atlantid weapons do. So if you have this one, it's a very, very, very easy way to get a very, very, very high damage multi-tool on a new character. If you did the Omega Expedition or Omega Expedition Redux and you get to the anomaly, go get this multi-tool, hands down, but gonna get you to the end game easiest, but it doesn't really count as an Atlantid weapon if you're looking for mining bonuses. So let's go over to this multi-tool here. It's got one of the highest damage bonuses in the game, as we discussed. Let's talk about the best multi-tool weapons in the game then. In my opinion, the Neutron Cannon is the best multi-tool in the game, weapon in the game. It does the highest DPS, and it's an area of effect weapon, so it'll affect a big area. It'll hit lots of little targets at once and pop them all at once. If you're on a derelict freighter, this is the weapon you want to use to clear a wide area all at the same time without any risk to yourself. It does very high damage to single targets too. It's just really all around the best weapon. Top tier in my opinion. Second tier weapons I would rank as the Boltcaster, which I don't have on this multi-tool. I don't think it's installed. Is it? Because I can't seem to install it. Maybe this character doesn't know. Oh, there it is. The Boltcaster, I would say, is a second tier weapon to the Neutron Cannon, as is the Pulse Spitter. And the difference between these, they're both sort of machine guns. This is a burst fire weapon. I think it fires 3 bullets at once to start, and you can increase that with upgrades and get it pretty high up there in its burst fire capabilities. You can also get this to reload ridiculously fast with all of the upgrades you can get onto it. It's not my favorite. The Pulse Spitter is like the machine gun. It's just the one that you would have like a huge clip of bullets chained into the side firing endlessly. But the clip size doesn't get as high as that. You get a huge clip, but you empty it in seconds, and the bullets don't have accuracy. This one has really good accuracy over long range, but it fires in bursts. And the only problem with the accuracy on this one is your own control over the multi-tool, as there's recoil on it. This one has a bit of recoil, but the bullets themselves lose accuracy the longer you hold down the trigger. But you can just empty the clip by holding down the trigger. So I sort of like this one better. The less accuracy gives it similar advantage to the area of effect of this. If you're clearing a freighter and you don't have a neutron cannon, you might want a Pulse Spitter. Third tier, I would rank it actually second tier to these two, is also the this one here, what's it called? The Scatter Blaster. It is basically a neutron cannon that uses bullets instead of carbon. By the way, these two weapons use ammunition. This weapon here uses carbon to be charged. You don't have to reload the clip ever. Another advantage of that. If you run out of carbon, you have to reload the carbon just like you would your mining beam or putting ferrite dust or whatever into your terrain manipulator. So it's just as fast to reload, a couple of buttons on the hot menu, but you don't have to reload hardly as often because it's a huge charge of carbon to that thing. These things you have to reload frequently. This one you can reload fast, so it's not a problem. This one you have to reload all the time, and it takes seconds. It might matter in the heat of combat, so careful with that. What were we just talking about? The Scatter Blaster. I would rank at the same tier as this. It's a very, very good weapon. It has spread damage. It does a lot of damage in close quarters to single targets, but it's very loud. So it loses points on that for me. It's an extremely loud firing weapon. I don't like how it sounds. And there's reload time, and the reload time on it is probably longer than the Pulse Spitter. Loses points on that for me as well. And final tier of weapons is Blaze Javelin. It is a laser sniper rifle. You can get pretty high damage with this, but you won't be doing one-shots to things that you would hope to do one-shots to, like high-end targets, like a Sentinel Minotaur. You're not going to one-shot that. You're not going to one-shot a Sentinel Walker, or even you're not going to one-shot a Sentinel Quad, and that's just a middle-tier Sentinel. So it's not as high damage as it could be. It takes a long time to charge up to full power. You can get that better with mods, and it's very fast, like the Neutron Cannon, but it's single target. It doesn't have any spread damage. It's not that great for very many situations. The only situation I would actually use it in is specifically to clear a sentinel pillar from such a far distance away that the sentinels don't know where they're being attacked from and can't come get you. But that's such a niche scenario that it's just easier to go and tackle them with a higher damage, faster weapon, in my opinion. The other ones that we haven't talked about yet are the plasma launcher and the geology cannon. These are the grenade weapons. They used to be significantly more dangerous to the person using them than they are now, but they still do area damage that can affect the player, so I never use them at all. I'm not cool with it. The geology cannon is the same as the plasma launcher, except it will damage the terrain like a terrain manipulator will. So if you want to dig a hole and do high damage, this is the thing you want. If you just want to do high damage, this is the thing you want. I've tested these on derelict freighters, and they work just as well, exactly the same capacity at clearing the little monstrosities on derelict freighters as the neutron cannon does, but the neutron cannon can't hurt you, so it's superior. I don't recommend grenades. Oh, hello, what do we have landing there? Oh, we've got an exotic starship here. If you would like to get an exotic starship, we'll be talking about starships next time. This one here, gold and white with a tall fin on top, not my style, but this is the address. I think we're in the Icentem galaxy. Let's take a look. Minor distraction here. Exotic starships have a unique landing sound, so. Space stations. No, I'm in the Euclid galaxy right now. So this is the Euclid galaxy. Here's the glyph address of that exotic starship right there in Euclid. Alright, back to weapons. No, we're done with weapons. Let's talk about other modules that you might want on your Sentinel multi-tool and which ones are best for what. This character here hasn't been updated since the new update to X-Class modules for neutron cannons, so we might be re-rolling those to X-Class. I've been told that they have the same potential bonuses as S, not better bonuses, so there's not necessarily any reason to upgrade, but I'll test that out. I think we can probably get slightly better bonuses than these. These are not particularly good S-Class modules either. But yeah, you want X or S-Class modules for basically everything in your multi-tool. X is very, very good for scanner upgrades. I saw Jason's Plays video live stream where he got, I think, the absolute best possible scanner module you can get. It was X-Class. It had a 50% scan radius, which I've never seen anything get that high, and it had 11,000, exactly 11,000 to the dot for all three mineral, fauna, and flora bonuses. Wow. I would definitely be taking that multi-tool into expeditions and copying it out just to copy that module out. What a great module. If you can get one of them, definitely copy it using expeditions. Yeah, other things you're going to want on your multi-tool besides X-Class modules for your scanner and your weapon, and S-Class modules for your mining beam, are things like your analysis visor, your survey device, your fishing rod. If you've earned a fishing rod and you want to do fishing, you want a polyphonic core. It gives scanner bonuses even if you're not doing autophage stuff anymore. Same with the scan harmonizer, also comes from the autophage mission, but it gives a scan radius, very good bonus to your scanner. I prefer, instead of, we were talking about grenades before, I didn't mention the paralysis mortar. This will not hurt you and will stun everything in the area, and even if you hit animals with it, the fauna will not be upset that they got stunned. They won't be angry at you for accidentally hurting them. They don't even know it happened. It's by far the best secondary weapon for your multi-tool. And if you're going to get it, you absolutely want to get the voltaic amplifier. The only problem with the voltaic amplifier is that it requires the fairly, not rare, but not as common resource, basalt, to create. So if you want to build this, you're going to need to find a volcano planet that has basalt. but I definitely recommend it. It gives a huge bonus to creatures that you've stunned. So if you want to take out a Sentinel Walker faster, you shoot a grenade at it first, and then you shoot it with this. Bing, bang, boom. Really, really fast. I think we might have covered everything I really wanted to talk about. Let's quickly go through here. There's some other stuff. You can get the cloak, turn you invisible. I do not find that particularly helpful. Creatures, it doesn't last long enough for creatures to lose sentinel aggression or for monstrosities to go back underground. So it's not really worth it to me. But it looks really neat. In fact, I think the Atlas staff, if I don't have a hotkey for that one. I thought I did. Yeah. That didn't work. Huh. Why is it not showing up? It should show up here. Oh, I thought it had a cloaking device on it. No, it doesn't have a cloaking device on it natively. My bad. But cloaking device, meh. Other things you can get, like I said, fishing rod. There is the living ship unique items like the Animus Beam and Solar Ray. If you're going to get a living ship, you're going to get these. They're basically like unique mining beams and terrain manipulators. So don't really worry about those too much unless you're getting living ships. The force shield, force field on your multi-tool puts up a little shield in front of you that can block weapons fire for a couple of seconds. Similarly to the cloak, I don't find it too useful. I would rather stun my enemies for a few seconds with a stun grenade than use that, because you can't fire while you're holding up the shield. So you can block bullets and then shoot, but I prefer the timing of just stunning enemies and shooting them while they're stunned. So I don't find it that useful myself. We were talking about the scanner and scan bonuses from the Autofish missions. Absolutely, definitely, on all multi-tools you get, no matter whether they're good for scanners or not, get a waveform recycler. The 20% recharge time also helps your scanner in your ship recharge faster. So definitely get a waveform recycler on all your multi-tools, no matter what kind of multi-tool it is, even if it's a lowly pistol. Actually, as we were saying earlier, pistols are better than rifles. Shh, don't tell anybody. All right. Oh, hey, there's my tool. It showed up. Staff finally showed up. Anyway, that's it for today, everybody. Until next time, have a good time.